Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Inspiration from Spirit show with your host, Reverend Lea Chapin. The focus and goal for this show is to assist humanity in the awakening of a new level of consciousness that will bring peace to planet Earth.
Welcome, I'm Lea Chapin. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. A lot has happened, and I'm so thankful to be back. I'm in sunny Florida now, so I have moved from the tundra of cold Illinois back to Florida, so I'm so delighted. So today we have our special friend Joanne Weiland, who's with us. She is the CEO of Linked Expert. She's been on my previous show, Inspiration from Spirit, when I had that show for the past 8 years. And she is a delightful guest. She is full of knowledge. She's just a fabulous, fabulous soul. And I'm so happy to have her with me. So welcome to the show, Joanne.
Thank you, Lea.
So Joanne, tell us a little bit about Linked Expert. What is that? I know, is it something like LinkedIn? Can you explain to us a bit about what your portal is?
Sure. The real difference is most people use LinkedIn to find employees, where with Linked Expert, they find project people like consultants, coaches, professional speakers, team builders, trainers, people that are just looking for projects, Lea, versus full-time employment.
And what inspired you to create this? And what year did this all take place?
In 2007. And it was because of the fact that for many years I traveled. I worked with business owners all over the world, and they all had incredible ideas, but only about 5% of them implemented their ideas. The 5% that did, I found hired somebody to help them, whether it be a consultant or a coach or a trainer. And then I wanted to know why the other 95% of the people didn't hire somebody. So long story short, I found out that most of them worked in their business and not on their business, and meaning that they really didn't know that many people. And the few times a month that they might go out in the public, like just say to a chamber meeting, but they sat with the same 5 people. So they knew about 5 people. So they really didn't know how to find like the Lea Chapins of the world that could help them. And so that's when I decided to create a platform where they could find the expert, check out their credentials, and hire them in minutes.
And you talk about this pivoting, and I don't know that word, but that's new to me. But we're living in a new world now with COVID, and everyone's sort of working off of Zoom and off their computers, and they're, not in the office anymore. And so we're in a new way of doing business. So can you tell us a little bit about how Linked Expert can help people then reconnect and make contacts? They're sitting in their home.
Sure. Starting off with pivoting really means to change. A lot of times we're doing something that we've always done and it's worked in the past, but doesn't mean it would work currently, especially like you just described with the COVID and everything. So a lot of people are going online, and to be able to go online too, you need to reach a lot of people, but a lot of people are already doing that. So when you're doing it, you really do need to reach more, because everything's numbers. Like if you reach 10 people, you might get maybe 1 call you, but if you reached 100, you might get 2 people calling you. But if you reach tens of thousands, you would get more people interested in what you're doing and contact you. So it's a lot about numbers, but it's also so whatever you decide to do. But getting back to the pivoting off, especially today, is more taking what you've already been doing, because you're already an expert in that area, but to be able to change it, to make it to be more virtual, make it to be online, have maybe online classes instead of physically going to somebody's office to do the training, as one example. Many people that are even having conferences or having online conferences, and they still need a keynote speaker and breakout sessions and different people with different areas of expertise, but they're hiring them to be online with their audience instead of physically. So pivoting is just being able to do more things with what you already know, but expanding your reach, expanding your way of doing it. Sometimes it's even completely shifting it. Like, look at how many restaurants have takeout, just as an example, versus before you only had dining in. So that's just, an example of how they pivoted to change the way they were doing business to be more available to the people that would want to, in their case, eat their food.
And do you think this is a more successful way of doing business, or what have you found out with some of your experts? What are they sharing with you of how this is all working now?
Well, believe it or not, some are less stressed out because a lot of them used to travel all the time. And I know from traveling over 1 million miles myself, everybody thinks it's fun because they feel like when they're on vacation, they're traveling, and they are, but they don't have to be certain places to get to and do different presentations or training. So they're, like stuck at the airport and their plane's late, or they get lost getting to the customer. So when you're doing the new way of doing it online, it's a lot less time consuming because you just really get on the computer versus getting on the plane. And so you really do have more time. And sometimes the real challenge is, though, just getting to learn the technology, or like you do, Lee, you have a station manager that does a lot of the technical stuff behind them. So they can also hire somebody to help them as well with different, types of technical issues, so that they can still focus on what they do best, but not, lose out on the opportunities just because of the fact that people want people that are online now versus physically in person. So a lot of
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to answer your question. So many of them are less stressed because of that.
And what kind of experts have joined Link to Expert? Who do you have that's a part of your team there?
Well, they're consultants that can help people grow their business. They're coaches that can also help you, especially be accountable. But each one of these categories has so many subcategories. So everybody's an expert at something, but not at everything. But meaning the consultant types usually help you implement your idea, and the coaches often help you develop your idea, bring it out of you to find out more what you're looking to do. Of course, professional speakers usually have some type of message, whether it's inspirational, motivational, technical. It depends on, again, their area of expertise to be able to help them, help others learn about that. Trainers, of course, they help you learn physically how to do it. So if you really want to do it yourself, they teach you how to do it yourself. Team builders, we have them that are also help the team get closer together, especially when companies merge or have acquisitions. They have different people that come in, like they call them team builder, to help them understand how to work together. All different. I mean, anybody that wants to be known as the expert, they don't have to be any of these. They could, many times they're authors that they wrote a book or many books about a particular subject, but they usually have a certain area of expertise. And sometimes there's an umbrella of expertise under that one type of expertise. So it's not always that it's just one, but it usually complements each other so that they help you. And one of the things that most people never realize about hiring different experts, if they're an expert in that area, they usually also have contacts in that area. So they can help you not just save time and money by helping you do it or do it for you, but they can also save your reputation. Just say you're trying to start manufacturing in another country. Well, you might not know anybody in that country that do help you with starting that manufacturing plant. Or if they already know who are the guys or the people, not meaning just guys, but people that can actually help you, grow your business fast, and that they really provide quality work in that factory, that's going to save your reputation versus you just starting working with anyone and you have no idea if they're going to create quality products that you'll again, your reputation is at stake. So, and then a lot of times they introduce you to people in their circles that can also help you with different parts of your business. Maybe not that they are even an expert in, but they also have worked in that area. So they know that you need, an attorney for patents or whatever it is that, again, you're working on, because everybody has a different idea. Everybody needs different types of consultants, coaches, trainers, types of people at different times of their business, because it depends what they're working on that time. But that's the beauty of it. They can just hire them for that project instead of putting them on their payroll and, paying them every week for, and they don't need that particular area of expertise at that time.
And so how did you find all these contacts? How did this all happen for you? I know you go to a lot of meetings, but it's like, if you need something, just call Joanne, because you know everyone.
Well, don't forget, it started with knowing, traveling for those 20 years. That really helped a lot, because I traveled over 1 million miles. I met with business owners all over the country, sometimes even the world, just because of the fact that back then, Lee, you didn't do what we're doing now, which is perfect, getting online and just talking to each other without having to leave the house or the office, where back then you really physically did make appointments. And so I get to meet a lot of people because of the fact that back then, like I say, you did the eyeball to eyeball. But the other thing we did back then was trade shows, conferences, conventions, a lot of, times you would meet 100, 1,000 people in a week or whatever, because you were, just say, in Vegas that week for a trade show that lasted all week. You would go to breakfast, lunch, and dinner with all these different people. You would go to parties with them. You would get to know them. And luckily for me, I kept track of who was who, and I kept them in my database. And so when I would meet somebody else, I would say, oh my goodness, you have to meet Lee. She could really, really help you with that problem that you have. And so I was connecting people way before I even knew I was doing it. And the only reason I even knew I was doing it was because when I was in my 40s, I started taking all those tests of what you want to be when you grow up. And it kept saying I was a connector. And I thought, whoa, big deal. Everybody connects people. But what I learned for me is not everybody does connect people. And so then I just had to figure out, well, how do I monetize that? And, because I was working in corporate America for those 20 years and I loved it, but I just felt like it was time for me to go on my own. And I was trying to figure out, okay, if I'm a connector, what do you do with that? So that's like you said, how did I get to know them? So many of them, when I started, that I saw speaking or doing breakout sessions at these conferences, at these conventions, met them at the trade shows. And again, I kept track of them. So I would contact them and say, hey, I know that you're doing this on your own. What about if I would help you get engagements, projects, and then I would only get paid for the jobs I get you, the projects I get you. And that's how it all started.
So if someone's interested in Link to Expert, where do they go to find out? And then what is it that you offer for them in terms of, just to sort of briefly, what would they expect to receive if they became a member of your portal?
Well, there's different angles of the membership. So for an example, the people that are trying to find the experts, what we call executives, entrepreneurs, they're trying to find the expert to hire them. It's totally free. They just use it at any time. They can put in the different information they're looking for that type of person. And our system will look if we have somebody that meets that criteria. And if they do, it'll suggest that you look at their Link to Expert website. And on their website, it shows everything about that person, meaning like a video introduction, their blogs, their articles, their videos, like this, an interview like this, which should be posted on there so that they can listen or watch different interviews that they've been on. It will include their organizations that they're members of, all of the things about them that, like back again, when we did travel, sometimes they would have specific travel requirements. Sometimes they can also see all the products they ever created, because everybody has a store, like any of their books, workbooks, online courses, videos, everything about that person is in one place. So when the person that's trying to hire them can find that. But the other beautiful part about it from all these years I did that was I found that many times it's more than one person trying to hire that person. So a lot of times it's a board of directors trying to decide who would be the best fit for that project. There's also many times it's a committee. And as you can see, that there's 5, 10, 15, 20 people, depending on who's looking, and they usually have to give the thumbs up or thumbs down about that person. So, and then before when we would physically have to go to that board meeting, as you can see, it would take time not just to go to it, but then they would ask me, can you send me Harry's book? Can you send me Lee's, video? So now they can all look wherever they are online, check out the credentials of that person and give the thumbs up or thumbs down without leaving their office, and they can easily make that decision of who would be the right fit. And then usually what they do is they call them, and we have what they call a 7-minute strategy session, meaning that they can talk to Lee or whoever it is that they're trying to hire, and they can talk to them and ask them questions about what they would do in this particular situation, as well as then the executive can also see if that's a good project for them as well. So it's a two-way street. And so that's the benefit for the people that are trying to hire them. And believe it or not, many of the people that are trying to hire them also need to hire other experts, because just like when you work at corporate America or any job, nobody does everything. They usually have different departments that do accounting, that do sales and marketing and tech support and blah blah blah. So the same kind of thing goes with these executives that are hiring them, but sometimes they're an expert at something, maybe just not that area. So they also need to be seen, be heard, and be known, we call it, because of the fact that if nobody knows what you do and why you do it and how you could help them, why would they call you? So we, meaning the other side, then when you want to be known as the expert, what we do is we allow the world to see what you can do. Again, like using this interview with you today, then you and I will both do our part to distribute it to as many people as possible. And we often reach tens of thousands of people with just using this one video as an example, where then, so we get to expose you to so many more potential clients. And then we also do the same thing. We distribute it to event professionals, because a lot of times an event professional will want somebody for their event or their conference or their convention, whether it even be online or not, and they need to know who can do what and what can they talk about. Sometimes they need MCs, sometimes they need panelists. So there are all different types of ways they need you to see if you're the right, and then they do the same process. They can check out your credentials, and then they can hire you to see if you'd be the right one for their event or their conference. And then the last part of it that we also work with people. Now that part that I just described is a membership, and we can talk about that in a minute. But there's also, we work with the media. We're always signing up new media affiliates, because we want the media also to pick up your blogs, your articles, your videos, your interviews, because they need content, number one. And if it's relevant to what their show is about or what their publication is about, they usually contact you too and say, hey, can we put your article in our publication, or can you be on our interview with us, next month, or whatever it is. So we work with the media so they also know about these different experts and why they would, and that helps the expert also be seen and be heard and be known to those people, the media's subscribers, the media's members, the media's followers. So it's really works what I call hand in hand, because we all need each other. So we make it easy for you to be able to see each other, know what each other's doing, understand. Because a lot of times, if you're like me, every week at least I learn about somebody that does something that I had no idea that was
Right.
something that people do, but it's there to help others. And then the last part of the equation is we also work with different people that can help you look like an expert. Like, for an example, when we were talking briefly a couple minutes ago about the technicians to help run your Zoom or help you run your radio show or whatever it is. But also maybe you wanted to write a book, so you need a publisher. Maybe you need an illustrator to draw the pictures. Maybe you need an editor or a ghostwriter because you have the ideas, but you just seem to never be able to get the book out. So we work with all these different studios and video studios, recording studios to help people also that want to be known as the expert to be able to create not just new products, but even new promotional material to be able to make them look good and people understand what they do so that they can all, get hired as well.
Yeah, because you connected me with my audiobook to a technician in Tampa, which was really fun last year. So it's like, oh yeah, that's, as I said, just ask Joanne, she'll know. So if anybody's interested, please contact Joanne because I know, just like with myself, you and I are somewhat the same. We have a lot of ideas, we're creative, but we don't always know how to implement it. And so this is a way for people to find, again, those experts that can help assist us where we lack, in the technical department, where both of us hire an assistant to help us with our newsletters and our emails and just all the stuff that we don't really know how to do computer wise, which is fabulous, Cindy. But this is just amazing because, I know a lot of people just have ideas, but they don't know how to implement. They don't know, they're creative, but they don't know really how to manifest it. So this is fabulous that you've been able to do this. This is totally amazing. And I was just going to ask you, I know that you say that you have a spiritual team. Can you tell people about that spiritual team, that you have a spiritual team that you call upon to help you, because you are like, you got a million ideas running through your head. I know you for a while. And so there's always like lots happening in there. Tell us about that spiritual team.
Well, I actually first learned about it from Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. He calls it his imaginary board of directors. So I thought, well, if Napoleon can have an imaginary board of directors, why can't I? So I started calling on different people that had what we call passed over or died or, are no longer in this realm to ask them if they would be part of my imaginary board of directors. And last time I counted, Lee, I had over 326 people that are in my imaginary board of directors that I actually speak to every morning, usually at sunrise in some place in nature, like the marina, the Gulf of Mexico. I usually try to stand in water. That's just because it calms me. I'm one of those people that wakes up really hyper. I don't need coffee or caffeine. I can start going before, right when I wake up. So I usually go somewhere in nature just to be able to be still and kind of like focus and get my day in order versus scattered. And so with this board of imaginary board of directors, I actually call my empowered explorer team, because what it is I pick different people that have different areas of expertise too, that can help draw us to other people in that realm. Just like what we were just talking about in the physical realm. But I also feel like if you have people on your board that have had that experience in the past when they were here on Earth, that they still have the ability to contact them, touch their lives and encourage them to work with different people or give me ideas and maybe even give me a connection that's still here on this side. And so it's just been fascinating how many of them have done so many incredible things, and many of them you've introduced me to too, like Brand as an example. And it's just wonderful when you have these people, spirits, whatever you want to call it, that are also willing to be there for you, because you can have a board. And I mean, I've been on many boards. I one time had 12 volunteer positions at one time. So I've been on many boards, many committees, and I believe in those too. But this is, just for when you're, like you said, about wanting to bring your ideas to the world.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about collaboration. That's really important to you. And as we come together in this time of where people are feeling a little bit more separate or fearful of each other, it's really important to co-collaborate now and to be able to, in some sense, let your guard down, to be able to trust. Can you talk about how important it is? 'Cause I know you use that word a lot in your business.
Well, and I have to tell you, when I first started telling everybody we need to collaborate, I think, they didn't really understand what I meant, but in 2 words, it's working together. But now you hear collaborating a lot. A lot of people use that in their taglines or whatever. But the real reason I feel like ours is genuine is because of the fact that what we've already been talking about, how you can really either hire somebody or work with somebody to collaborate to create a project. One time we had 9 different people that one client hired 9 of our experts to create this whole project, because again, a lot of times a project isn't something that is easy or that one person will know how to do all of it. I mean, I often think about, I don't know about you, but I love after you watch a movie, did you ever watch the credits? How many people are involved in that one movie. Same here with the radio. I mean, sometimes at the end of different programs I listen to on the radio, and they'll say, the scripts were written by this person, the technical director was this person, the camera person was this, and they keep listing all these different people. So you can see most projects require different areas of expertise, but they all have to have the same goal and collaborate together to make that show successful or look good or sound good, right, or whatever. So I really feel like collaboration is the key to people's success, just because of the fact that if you're thinking you do it on your own, and many people do think they can do it on their own, and when they do it on their own, what I find, it usually takes them really long because they have to go back to school or whatever. Just as an example, when I started doing this, I thought, oh, I could create a website. Well, as Lea said, I'm not very technical, but I went to USF for 3 months and I learned how to create a website. And I even passed the course, but it looked like a second grader. So would I want to show that to the world? No, but I do admit it did really help me when I really did work with professional web developers, because then I understood what they were talking about when they asked me about meta tags and different things like that. So I'm not saying stop learning. I'm just saying stick to what you're really good at, because if you want to look again professional, you would really want somebody to be impressed with what you're doing, rather than looking like my website did, like a second grader did it. And then, and even with that, I mean, we had web developers, web designers, web programmers, people that helped us find the images. I mean, I could go on and on. It's really not, again, one person usually knows how to do all of it. Mm-hmm. So when you collaborate with them, again, they knew a lot of different people that they worked with on different projects. In my case, because when I wanted to create this, we call it a portal. And instead of a website, because it's hundreds and hundreds of websites within one web portal. But back then in 2007, Lea, nobody even knew what a portal was. Mm-hmm. So when I asked people and they said, well, you can pay me $150 an hour and I can learn. Well, it's not that I didn't want to, but I didn't even know how to teach him, because God just gave me the idea, not the blueprint of exactly how to do it. I felt like Noah in the ark, build an ark. Well, what's an ark? What's a portal? So, yeah. So I needed them to have these particular guys that I hired. They literally had created 12 of them already. So it really helped me, because then I just had to focus on the parts that I knew that I was supposed to create versus the technical part of how to make it work.
And I was going to ask you, I'm going to change gears just a little bit, but you had some exciting news about connecting with a lady, I think in Arizona, with this magazine. Is that correct?
Say it again. I was trying to adjust my volume, thinking maybe that was, had feedback, but it didn't help. So go ahead.
Oh, I thought I was just going to change gears a little bit. I was just going to ask you about the some new direction that you were moving into, and I think you just shared with me recently about this new magazine that you might become a part of with this lady in I think it was Arizona that you were sharing with. Can you tell us about that? Because I know you're really excited about this. So I was just wanted to share with the listening audience some of the new ideas that you're moving forward into.
I will. And actually, we call it a dynamic digital magazine. And the reason we call it that is because it's digital, of course, so that we can send it out all over the world instead of physically printing it and mailing it all over the world. And it is dynamic because of the fact that people can actually interact with it right there. And when they interact on the magazine, the reason that's important too is because we want people to get to really know the different people that are in the magazine, not just, page through it. And so we've actually already created 5 of these digital magazines in the past. And this one, we are, like you said, working with Kathy Davis. She actually helped me recently be an international best-selling author in Bright Spots. We had 40.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We had 40 different authors inside in the book, and that's a. I know I'm gotten off key, but I'll get back to what I'm saying. But the reason that's important, that's a real good example of collaborating too, because there was 40 of us authors, each wrote a chapter, and each promoted the book on October 1st. This last, only a month ago. And so that helped us all become international best-selling authors. So we were bestsellers in Australia, France, Canada, and the US. And it was because, some of the authors were also international. And the reason I say this is such collaboration, because if one of us had to do all of it ourselves, it probably would have never got it done that fast. But each one of us got to tell our stories. And like I showed you, it's called Bright Spots. And the reason that's important at this time of the, because you always want something that's relevant. And the reason it's relevant is because it's all about stories to lift people's spirits, to help you feel better, to talk about, my chapter is about COVID, and my dad and stepmom got sick, and they were in the hospital for a month in rehab. And I went up there to take care of them when they got released. And long story short, they were actually separated, but because they both had COVID and they were both on the same floor in the hospital and the same, adjoining rooms in the rehab, they actually
forced them together.
Yes, they got back together. So that an outbreak of love. And so my bonus mom and my dad are, got back together, and I shared that story just as an example of an uplifting story. We really know a lot of people are down and sad and depressed right now. So we thought if we could each share a little story to pick people's spirits up. Plus that way you can read it in a couple of minutes. You don't have to sit there with the book, for days. So anyway, so that's an example of that. So the author, the actual publisher is Davis Creative up in Missouri. And Kathy Davis is the woman that, the founder that I've been working with. And so once we created this, what we were thinking about, I said, well, I've been creating different magazines. What if we created one and offered it to the different 40 authors? Because once you create a book, that's the other thing people don't realize. You might have a book, you might have an audiobook or whatever it is, but if nobody knows you have it, it still doesn't matter. So you have to so you have to continually promote it to let people know that they want to buy a copy. And so with the interactive magazine, not only will they see each of the authors, or it could be the experts in the magazine, but they will also be able to learn more about them. Because Lee, a lot of times we say, oh, that's really cool, but we don't know what they do. So this we're having what we call gamification in it, crossword puzzles, word searches, that you have to match the expert with their audio with their radio show, match the expert with their online course. So different games to make it fun, but also so that the people that are reading about you learn more about what you can do for them. And because a lot of times we don't even realize that people don't know when you sometimes have a different title, just say an emotional intelligence coach, what does it really mean? Why would I want to bring an emotional intelligence coach into my business? So it's another way for you to go deeper and learn more about that expert, to find out about them. So we're putting the magazine together right now. We hope to distribute it in December. As you said about Cindy Patika, our assistant, who's helping me with all the details. And thank God for people like her, because otherwise it would never get done.
We never get anything done. I couldn't run my business without her.
And I think I introduced you to her too.
You did, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Can you tell people where you're located? I know that the work is global, but you're in the Tampa Bay area in Florida, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I have the best of both, because I get to, work with people all over the world, but also, live here. And for us, I know you just came from the cold, so you're not excited, but as much as I am probably, but today it finally cooled off. And this morning it was delightful. Instead of, in the 90s, I think today's only going to go in the 80s.
That's right. It's not so oppressive. So you got a lot of exciting opportunities coming for you. And I know it's hard for me to keep track of all that you're doing, because it was like your mind spins a lot and you're always, super busy. How do you keep the energy level to create all this? Because when I listen to you, I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so exhausting.
Well, thank you. I think because I do physically, I do in my head think of, okay, like I said, I go in somewhere in nature in the morning. So that's kind of like my spiritual time. But like, for an example, on Mondays, I was just on your call at 11 o'clock, and I've been on your call for years and years and years. And that boosts my spirits too, so I have different calls like yours that are what I would call spiritual, to keep me connected spiritually. Mentally, I finish about a book a week. I usually have about 7 or 8 books that I'm reading at the same time, but I usually finish one a week, because a lot of our experts, our members, they send me their books and I read them, as well as a lot of people tell me about good books. Sometimes I think I wish I did have more time to just read books, but so that helps me mentally. Almost every day I do something physical. When it's so hot, I usually am in the pool, either doing laps or working out in the pool, just to keep my body physically, energized. And so I really do work on emotional things, trying to do things I love. Like I just actually spent the weekend with you, for a couple of days. That helps my emotions, because I get to hang out with people that, emotionally charge me. I have a grandson that's 9 years old that has tons of energy, and he's wanting to do something and go. And I know it sounds crazy, but if you ever get depressed, go hang out with a little kid. It's amazing, because they're always laughing, they're wanting to play, they're talking, they're, giggling. So I just recommend, go over visit your neighbor, whoever has a kid, for a while if you get sad. So I really do believe, though, that's the secret to feeling good, to having energy, to be conscious of, you have to take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and not just occasionally, but pretty consistently. And that's what keeps me going. And then the other part of it, with the creativity, I recommend that you do different things. Like I love to go on like open mic nights or show and tell for adults, and different fun things that help your creativity. So you sometimes, where I live, we have different things at our Art and Music Center, the Safety Harbor Art and Music Center, that a bunch of adults get together and we challenge each other by, telling stories, or sometimes they write poems or songs, and then we share them with each other. And it just really helps you keep creative. And I belong to like groups that actually critique my stuff, because a lot of times I write things that I think, oh, this makes total sense, and then I ask them to read it and tell me what I'm trying to tell them, and they have no idea. So you have to, I think, be willing to also put your stuff out there and be okay with people don't get it or understand it. So then you can critique it and change it. Actually, right before I called you, I had created something and Cindy had highlighted it all over. Like, what do you mean by this? Describe more, because sometimes we think we're so articulate in what we are saying, but we're not to the person that can't see what's in our head. So I just challenge you to just join different things. Even now with Zoom, I do different groups like that. We do happy hours and that we all get together. And sometimes some of the groups will bring in a poet or a musician, or even one time one brought in a magician. Uh, I personally myself host a mastermind meeting every month with our members to also encourage them to get to know each other, but also to share what new things they're working on so that all the other members know it, so that then when they're actually meeting with different people, maybe somebody doesn't need what that particular expert's doing, but they know about another member and linked experts doing something that could help them. So it's all about just trying different things, doing different things, whether it's physically going to these places, which we both know is not very right now very common, but you can do a lot of them online. Another one I've been on Friday afternoons is No More Bad Zoom. They teach you how to do Zoom professionally, and that's done by Robbie Samuels. And so every week he's been doing that since March, and he teaches hundreds of people how to use Zoom, because now all of a sudden we're stuck on Zoom, but so a lot of people don't know how to use it. So I just try to find different things that motivate me. Last week I was on a women's health and wellness summit for half a day. The week before that I was on a full day of learning from all different experts of different things that they know about. So I'm always, I guess, trying to learn and keep current with what's going on, just because then I can incorporate others that I'm working with,
I think I lost you, Joanne, just a minute. You froze out. Hopefully Joanne will return. Somehow got disconnected from Joanne. If you're interested in knowing more about Joanne, go to linktoexpert.com. Joanne Weiland, linktoexpert.com. There she is. So hopefully she'll jump back in. But I know Joanne has so many contacts. And if you, again, are somebody like me who has a lot of creative ideas but don't know how to implement things, particularly in the practical form, Link to Expert really is the site for you to be able to find that expert. Like I said, I needed to have a personal assistant, and so Joanne connected me with a personal assistant that helps me with my personal business. And then when I had wanted to do my audio show, she connected me with a technician there in Tampa at 2Nov2020 Productions, and Dan was fabulous. He was a great technician and helped me put together my audiobook. So I think you're back again, but I was just letting people know that you're a fabulous connector, and so how much you've been of help to me. You were one of the first people that I think I met when I came to St. Petersburg, Florida. So you're like the perfect person to have met. So I was really grateful that God brought you into my life. So, and I know that you've been a great benefit to many. Can you share with us a little bit about the vision for Link to Expert? What your vision is for your future?
Sure. We call it make expert connections that count, because I feel like, especially now when people are in the midst of trying to pivot, that they can hire the expert that can help them pivot faster. And that way they can not just survive, but thrive in these times. Because I really do also want to encourage people, because of the fact that I know so many people are losing their jobs right now. And so if they do decide to go on their own, our different experts can help them, when they're starting up, as well as if you want to pivot your business and you need a different expert to help you do that, to use that. So my mission really and vision is just to be constantly bringing in new members that can help other people grow their business. And the real reason that, they would probably want to join Link to Expert is just because of the fact that, like, every month, for twice a month actually, for the last 9 years, we've actually been sending out a newsletter about each one of that includes each one of our experts. We send out email blasts. Also, for 9 years, we've been sending out a press release over the business wires so that tens of thousands of people hear about these different experts. I mean, we just expose you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We send out about 35 tweets a day. So it's just an easy way for you, the expert, to be seen, be heard, and be known worldwide with ease, so you can focus on what you do best. And we help get the word out about who you are and what you do to the world. I mean, of course, you have to create the messages because we don't know what you're doing, but we can distribute them to many people, because what we really do is we do connect you with other connectors, and that's what's really the power. I mean, some of our people that, like, we only have 30,000 followers on Twitter, but it took me 10 years to get 30,000 followers on Twitter, because we have specific types of people we want to work with on Twitter, or not work with, I mean, but connect with. And then we also have different members. One has 200,000 followers, Gary Loper, he's a Twitter expert. Eleanor Stutz, she has like 57,000 followers. So it's not just who we know, but just as an example, we have members that have also lists or connections, and then we all get exposed to each other's people, but we don't get each other's contacts. So like when the newsletter goes to everybody's contacts, but it's not like you get each other's contacts. But this way you just upload something taking 5 minutes, and we distribute it to, often reaches hundreds of thousands. The last two magazines we send out, we've reached 317,000 people. Most people don't know that many people. Not that we do either, but together, it's all about collaboration again, of that we, all work together to get it out to that many people.
And it's so funny how that is, because, well, just for example, yesterday I was at an event, and this lady had found me through my YouTube and through my Mary Magdalene teachings that I do every Monday morning. And somehow she felt like she recognized me. And then when I said my name, then she had already been following my work. It's like, you never really know. It's so strange. It's like, it's sort of humbling to me. It's like, I always think, well, I'm just doing my little work and no one's paying any attention. But when you meet a physical person that, says, hey, I've been following you. So, it's like with Link to Expert, you really never know who's listening, who's watching, and you just got to put it out there. You just got to do your thing.
Well, and it's true. And what I find is they have to see you many times, and then they hear in their head that you're the right one for their project. Because just think of advertisers. Just to use Coca-Cola as an example. Do you think they really only advertise one way? No, they're on billboards, on the radio, on the internet, on YouTube, everywhere. I mean, and that's why it's important. And that's why we do a lot of that for you, so that you can, again, focus on what you do best. But you have to be seen many places and heard, like on this radio, show. And then they also not only hear you, but they hear what you're saying and think, oh, that would be the perfect person for me. Like with that woman that you met yesterday, she's already been hearing you. So she's like, oh, wow, I want to work with Lea. So it's just the part of it, doing business.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I know you've seen a lot of change since 2007, haven't you?
Yes, a lot.
So tell us a little bit. We just got maybe about 10 minutes left or so. Tell us a little bit about how people can find you, and just very simply what you can help them with, and just briefly what in a nutshell what they would get from you if they contacted you. How does that work?
Okay, they can call us at 727-791-7338. They can email us at info@link2to expert.com. And depending on what they want. I mean, we can help them either find an expert or if they want to be known as the expert. So it really depends what they want. But many times, like I said, they really want both because they're an expert and they want to be known, but they also need different experts sometimes to help them be known. So I guess it really depends on what they're looking for, that they just let us know and we'll do our best to steer them in the right direction of who can help them. I mean, they can also just go to Link to Expert, again, LINK2TO. And the reason I say that, because some people think it's the number 2, but TO, expert, EXPERT.com. And you can even find them yourself. And you can also see on the homepage all the different ones that are always highlighted that have something new, a new blog, a new article, a new book, a new product, a new service. So, or even just sign up for our newsletter and they can receive that for free twice a month, the first and the 16th of the month. And so we're just always looking for ways to help the world grow, because I feel like that's the other thing that's really important. I call it be all you're designed to be. A lot of times people, you talk to them and they're working or whatever at a job and they say, oh, it's only Tuesday, or, oh, it's hump day. I, only have 3 more days. Well, I personally don't think those people enjoy what they do. I never even feel like I'm working, and people say I'm a workaholic. So I really think that, if you do what you love and love what you do, your world, your life, is so much more exciting. And so that's why I encourage people that, have something in their heart or desire that they want to create. Go for it. What are you waiting for? I feel like one of the things you said on the call today, I mean, just go for it and it'll appear. You'll be guided, you'll be directed, you'll know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. But you just have to make a clear plan and commitment that that's what you want. And once you tell God, the universe, spirit, whatever you want to call it, and you work together on it, it's amazing what you can do. But you just have to start. And even if you already started and you kind of got stalled and you thought, oh, it's not working, try again, try a different angle, call somebody, get a different idea. Like I do, I mastermind all the time. That's how I created this whole thing. I was in so many different masterminds over the years, because even though I said I got to do all that with business owners, but the other thing is I mastermind with 4 other what we call experts in the beginning in 2002, just so that I would know what their life was like. What do they like to do? What don't they like to do? What is easy for them? What do they need? What could they use? So do work with different groups to find out what their desires are, their needs are, and then see if you can fill it in, and let them know, hey, I could do that for you. I can help you. Let's figure out how much it's worth to you, whatever it is. So I just feel like my real mission is to help people do what they love and love what they do.
And you do a great job at it. And I know that you work with vision boards, and that you hold that intention. And again, as we talk about having confidence within yourself, you don't have to be an expert at everything. Lord knows.
Nobody is. Even if they say they are, you better run, because, sorry, but they're probably full of poop.
So we have that team to co-collaborate. So, like that, we have Tiffany, running the show today, and Cindy helping me put up the flyers so that we can, have listeners, and you're here as my guest. I'm just showing up, but just simply having confidence within yourself and trusting within your own divine guidance and your own wisdom. I know a lot of people who have dreams and desires and they want to create things, but then they're not confident enough, but they're not, they don't know what to do. So that's where you come into play. So for those who are like, well, I think I'd like to create something or write a book or whatever it is that they have, their heart's desire is, go for it. Contact Joanne. She'll help you connect to the right people to help you. Lord knows, if you trust and realize that the universe is there to support you, the right people, the right helpers will come into place. As long as you hold that passion as for the highest good for all concerned, then all the players will fall into place and help you. Because that's really how I've operated, is I want to say by the seat of my pants, but it's by the grace of God that that I've accomplished many things.
Exactly. But it's true. But you just have to step out there and take one step at a time, And I really feel like sometimes that's the challenge. I know when I was in corporate America, they always wanted me to create a 10-year plan, a 5-year plan, a 1-year plan. But sometimes we just need to create what we're going to do today.
Moment to moment. Yeah, I'm doing this today. Yes. Well, we just got just a couple more minutes. So let's just go ahead and give your contact information again. I want to thank you for being on. You're phenomenal. You work so hard, and I know you've helped so many people. And, again, for those who are looking, have an idea, contact Joanne. She'll help you. She'll help you get started. And she's got a beautiful, loving heart. She's very generous. So consider becoming a member of Link to Expert, and know you won't regret it.
Thank you. Yes. And just call me at 727-791-7338 or info@linktoexpert.com, or just go to LINK2TO expert expert.com. And so those that like to text, the text number is 727-243-9453. That's 727-243-9453. And just so you know, I appreciate everything Lea just said, but I can say ditto. She has been phenomenal, and she's really been a big inspiration and help to me over the years. But that's why I also feel like one thing that we didn't hit on is you really do need other friends, colleagues that really believe in you too, and can encourage you. Like she's encouraged me over the years, and I hope I encourage her, because I really do believe that we also need other like-minded people, or at least people that believe in us, to also help us keep going. Because because there is days that, we get down and, so it's not like every day, we're up excited about life. But at least those days that we're not, we have people like Lea that can encourage us to get back up and keep going. So thank you, Lea, for all the years that you've been there for me.
Oh, you're welcome, honey. You've been a great friend. I'm so happy for you. And I know there's much more exciting opportunities for you. I know that you're going to continue to expand and grow. And so, again, thank you for being on. I love you dearly. And we'll talk again.
Love you too.
Have a good day, honey. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Again, that's Joanne Weiland. She is the Chief Operating CEO of Link to Expert. Go to linktoexpert.com. Just want to let everybody know that this Friday I am going to start my master class of the Intuitive Development class. So please consider joining my first class. We'll have it on November 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time USA, and we'll have it again November 13th. This is a beginning intuitive development class, but it will be divinely guided. And so I'm really excited about being able to share and help other people tap into their own spiritual and intuitive abilities. We'll talk about what clairs, what senses that you're most predominant. I'll give each one a private reading in terms of what their predominant clair is, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, and then be able to help you understand who your spirit guide is. We'll be working with pendulums. So in the next couple of classes, we'll go over some basic information. But again, all my work is divinely guided and with the help of the Ascended Masters. And so they will continue to give you much more than just basic intuitive development class. So I'm really excited about doing that class. And we just finished with our master class with the Earth Rising with Tiffany Sagewoman, the producer of Goldylocks Productions. We just finished that 4-week course. We'll probably, it hasn't been determined quite yet, but we want to go ahead and just continue on a monthly basis with that. Every Monday morning, I bring the messages of Mary Magdalene and Joshua forward in a teleconference call that Joanne was referencing, that I've been doing at least for 15 years or more. I've lost track of time. But I bring those universal teachings of Mary Magdalene and Joshua, and I put them into my YouTube channel. They're available on my YouTube channel. Just Google Lea Chapin YouTube and you'll find me. And I also put it out on Facebook into written form. So they're both in transcript and in audio. And then you can certainly find me at my website, LeaChapin.com. You can find my book, Divine Union, The Love Story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. which is the story of divine sacred union, of us merging into our sacred alchemy of Divine Mother, Divine Father. And then once a month, I teach the 12 Master Teachings of Christ. I have 2 more months of that. I have November and December. I've been teaching from that book that I wrote back in 2003, and I go over one chapter. Our next chapter that we'll be working on is peace, and so how important it is for us to return to peace during these troubled times. So I have that class every month, and so there's a lot going on. So join me if you so shall. Take a look at my website, LeaChapin.com, and I do individual channeled readings for those who need guidance for life issues. I've been doing that work now for 27 years. I'm a psychotherapist, but I'm also a divine oracle for spirit, and so I combine my work with spirit to help people understand issues that they're struggling with as a spiritual psychotherapist. So until next time, have a great week. Again, thank you, Joanne Weiland, for being with us today, and just go in peace and namaste to everyone. Have a blessed week.
Become a Goldylocks Productions VIP patron. Receive exclusive access to live stream special and other epic perks. Join the Goldylocks Productions VIP community today.